Hey, what's up? Scott Balcom here with Imagination Creation Films. And yeah, I'm here out in, well, this is North Carolina, I think. I'm not sure. I hear banjos. But yeah. I don't have time to set up my intro. So yeah, I am here. I'm live. I'm hoping you guys, there we go. I'm having, it wouldn't be a live stream without some kind of internet problem. I mean, really? I mean, there we go. Now you can kind of see this beautiful, gorgeous view that I have. How is everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. It has been, it's been a struggle, a little bit of a struggle for sure. It's hard sometimes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm in a public place, so people are like coming and going. It's kind of a thing. But how many we got on? Because I can't see. This new chat thing is horrible, and YouTube is being very mean to me. There we go. Now I can see. So, Jamie, how's it going, buddy? How you doing, man? I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm just sitting like on the edge of a cliff, and there's like no one around. It's kind of nice. I'm in the production van. I got bright light up here just to kind of even me out. I mean, that's the thing when you are a mobile DP, you come with lights. So I mean, look at this. This is what I would look like if I didn't have the Aperture 300D Mark II. But now that I have it, look, I balanced out a perfectly good lighting scenario, backlit by the wonderful sky. But now I have this super nice bright right from the front. Well, we got, hey, Tim, how are you, buddy? Let's see. Never stream in public. This is true. And I've always been told never to cross the streams. I don't really know what that means. I did copy and paste the key in there. I don't know if that counts as crossing the streams, but, I'll find out. Tim, how's it going, man? I hadn't talked to you. Production van is just giving me all kinds of grief here. Jamie says, I ove your van. Well, thank you, Jamie. I ove me too. Hey, Bill. How's it going, buddy? Hey, Scott, you said you are in North Carolina. I am. I don't really know where I am. I feel like I'm kind of in the western part of North Carolina because the vowels are getting longer. Somebody like walked up to me this morning and was like, hello. And that tells me that I'm somewhere in like, I guess, Asheville area. That's what it feels like. But it's hard to tell. Yeah, North Carolina. Kevin Kelly, salute. Hello, Kevin. How are you? Bill says, dang, I want to be in the show. I don't think it works that way. It requires a little bit of planning. And I don't even know where I am, so I wouldn't be able to tell you where to go. So, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, if you want to do that, we'll do that sometime. I mean, you're always welcome to the show. Just let me know, and, we'll make it happen. I'm sorry. Tim says, pretty good. Rainy here. So jelly of where you're sitting. It's not raining here. And it was actually really cool. I was out shooting elk this morning and last night. It was in the 50s. It was really an enjoyable sleep. Right now it's about, I don't know, 76 degrees, I'd say. The wind is coming out of it feels like the east, but I guess it could be the mountains. You just never know. But it's nice, and it's a little humid. Bill says, I think I can make it happen. Well, so knock yourself out, buddy. Anytime. Let's see here. We got a nice little... Who are you?
What's up? Hey, everybody.
It's Bill Howard. You know Bill Howard? Bill Howard from Conscious Creative Media? That's Bill. And we're here in North Carolina with the extra vowels.
Norte Carolina.
El Norte de Carolina. You got to move over. Yeah, we've been planning this for minutes. It's coming together so badly, but we got it. We made it happen. So we're live streaming. We're on the show. So how's it going, Bill? How was the walk over here?
It was, well, I live in Eastern North Carolina, so I ran pretty fast to get here.
Well, you must be in good shape because you're not even out of breath.
And that tracker I had on you, it worked. I found you.
Which one?
The one I usually stalk you with.
I don't know about that one, but maybe I should. Where is it? I'm just kidding. We're back in my studio. This is a green screen.
I did not go to Texas.
No, that's true. He wouldn't know how to deal with Texas. Let's see. So what is everybody up to? Sorry about the live stream mess. It's always a pain in the butt. But, whoops. Now we're, of course, dropping frames. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth. No, don't worry about that. Are y'all experiencing lovely... tell me what y'all are experiencing. I mean, I can pump up the volume here. Let's see what we get. The output. Let's take this to 1500. Let's see what we get. Maybe that'll help. So come on, people, talk to me. Say hello. I mean, I did all this too, and him, but I feel like we should at least chat. I mean, I hope this is working. Let's see. Am I dropping frames? Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, we're tethering on a cell phone. We're running power from my van. I've got power running everywhere. We're on a laptop. Is it working? Is it frozen? Oh, no. I'm sitting down. Okay, cool.
Look, this is us in the past.
Ooh, I just picked my nose. Did you see that? So, Tim, what's the temperature there in beautiful Indiana where it's raining? Tim, look, I'm wearing my Kessler shirt. See that? I'm Kessler proud today. Actually, I was just telling him about the wonderful thing called the Kessler release. And how wonderful it is. And I think I've got him sold on getting one. They are completely valuable, or invaluable, I would say is the correct term. Valuable is true, but invaluable is the right term.
He did say he had several, so he just might be missing one and not know it.
I didn't bring all of them. I'm not that dumb. How is the audio? Does the audio sound good? I can't quite tell because I'm not listening to me. Tyler, hey, buddy. So tomorrow, we're going to get pizza tomorrow? I'm in North Carolina, Tyler, so not quite an easy drive back. But, I get it. So how's it going, Tyler? I haven't talked to you. Well, it's been weeks. You probably couldn't get on to the live streams previously because, my internet's been sucking.
What's up, Gerald?
Hey, Gerald, how are you? We were just talking about you earlier. What were we saying? Well, you were saying some mean things, and I said, no, Gerald is cool. Leave him alone. No, we were actually talking about your real estate photography and how amazing it is. And we're both like, gosh, I wish I had some homes like that to do. That would be cool.
The video was really good, Gerald. That was an awesome video.
But we're here to take your questions live right here on the air with almost no delay.
He's going to give you the answers. I'm going to give you. Remember, what was it, Hollywood Squares?
Yes,
where somebody gives you a fake answer.
These are young kids. They don't remember Hollywood Squares.
So you're not going to be Paul Lynn?
I am. You son of a breath freshener. That was my favorite line from him. Son of a breath freshener. Let's see. Tyler says, I have a bunch of those. They're great. They are great. You are correct. Let's see. Tim says, been around the 60s today. Quick release is the jam. It is true. 60s is kind of nice. What was it last night? Was it like the 50s?
I think it was about 62.
No, because it was 60 when we were leaving the elk field. And it was cool. I was underneath the covers.
I had one blanket on me. I slept in a hammock.
I was under the covers, and I don't normally do that. It was very wet, very humid. But, it's all about
We didn't go to sleep until 2 a.m.
That's true. We sat out looking at the stars, commenting how we should be shooting Milky Way, but we didn't want to hike up to the top. And so we just kind of, hung out and chit-chatted all the way through.
Didn't lose anything, did we?
No, it's just saying it's buffering. It's just being a little weenie.
And then we got up at 6:15, and Scott went back to sleep because he's still on Texas time. And I cleaned my van. But then we got some great photos and video past yesterday afternoon and today, I think.
It's true. He did clean his van because it needed it. His van is parked behind me. He's providing a little buffer zone, but we're really kind of happy because although the sun has finally gone down over the hill, we've added this other sun called the Aperture 300D Mark II, which is just blasting. In fact, you should take a picture of this setup. Go back here, and then we could bring it up to the camera, and then that'll probably kick the whole live stream off. And yeah. Let's see here. Doing well. Just trying to stay busy. One day we'll get pizza. One day. I know. I want to get a ride in the Tesla. Actually, I want the Tesla to take me for pizza, and I just want you to join me. Gerald says, thank you. What are you doing in North Carolina? So let's see if you can see this. Yeah, you can't see it. It's too dark because we haven't adjusted for the sun.
Let me see if I can brighten this up.
Well, not likely from you. You have to start using big words with multiple syllables. Let's see if you can. No. That's really.
Right here in the safety.
Yeah, right. No, I don't think you can see it at all.
It didn't work.
Oh,
we'll share it on Facebook.
We will share it on Facebook because that's actually, I'm going to need a picture.
I've also got a really good picture of Scott fussing at his computer because he couldn't log into the.
That is, and now there is actual witness to the struggles that I go through to get these things to work. and I have to apologize to all these wonderful people around here. We have a slight audience. I may have said a few words while I was trying to get through. Yeah, I'm supposed to clap down below so they don't hear you, making things like this to other people. Let's see here. What am I doing in North Carolina? So I've got that job down in Atlanta in Monday, so I just decided I was planning on going to Colorado to catch the aspens changing color. And, well, Atlanta's the opposite direction of that, so I said, you know what, I'll just go up to the Smoky Mountains. I hear it's beautiful up there. I haven't been there in years, and, I thought I'd give that a shot. And then I hit up Bill, and Bill's like, I don't really like you. But we made it happen. I
stalk him so I can stay away from him. Right,
exactly. There's that court order thing that I may not be violating. And I do apologize for what happened to your Twinkies. But we met up yesterday. Yeah.
1:30 yesterday.
1:30 yesterday. And then we hung out all night, and we were shooting elk with cameras. And then today we're up, what is it, Craggy?
We're near Craggy Gardens.
Near Craggy Gardens.
Blue Ridge Parkway.
Blue Ridge Parkway. And, just kind of enjoying life. Just kind of taking it easy.
And guess what? This is a selfless promo. We will also be doing a World's Greatest Photography podcast with the famous Mr. Scott Balcom.
We didn't talk about that.
It was in the contract. Remember the contract I sent you that allowed me to get within 100 feet?
I didn't sign that. Did you not read it? It said Harry Potter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a World's Greatest Photography podcast. And that should be interesting because, Bill and I have never sat face-to-face before. Tyler says, ha-ha. I'm assuming he's saying, ha-ha, at the Tesla driving me for pizza. And I assume Tyler said it like, ha-ha.
Tyler, you know what he had today? Pop-Tarts.
I did have a Pop-Tart this morning. I had Pop-Tarts and then I had a turkey sandwich for lunch.
Did he invite me for a turkey sandwich?
No. I didn't even tell him I was eating. He was in there napping in his hammock.
I was actually editing elk photos.
AKA.
And two bull moose photos, but actually they were Scott at a waterfall, but yeah.
Yeah, that's just a bull. Don't spit on my laptop. Oh, we look like a bunch of morons.
No, we look like one moron.
You know, the camera's reversed. You just pointed at yourself.
No, it's right there.
I thought that might work. So I don't know. How did was anybody able to click on my link on Facebook to get here, or did you have to do it through YouTube? I just never know because I'm having to use the new studio, which sucks. Or were you just on the same feed? You just stayed on the same feed?
No, I went to the I Am Now streaming thing.
Right. Okay. That sucks. Well, there's
but it looked like the people moved over. I'll check and see if there's people on the other one waiting.
Yeah, you can check. I mean, I know Jamie made it, which is cool. Cool. Jamie, what's up with that dog, man? That dog was like eating you. It felt wrong. Gerald says, suggestion for super wide, full frame Sony lens that is actually light. Well, no. That right there is a no-no. You can't distort the curvature of the Earth without it being heavy, unless you're going to use plastic lenses, which means junk.
But the Note 10 Plus has a super wide lens, kind of.
And apparently iPhone 11 now does too. I'd love to have something much lighter than the 1635 when on a gimbal. Yeah, it's going to be super, super tough.
Once you get past that, Gerald, are you getting into fisheye territory, though?
Well, you're kind of, but not. I mean, you're going to be rectilinear with that. What is it? The 1635. That's still in rectilinear. You can get rectilinear down to about 14 millimeters. There's some that are below that, but for full frame, that's tough. That is.
Rokinon works on a full frame.
That's 14.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, how are y'all?
Fine. How you doing?
Doing good.
It's a 14 millimeter, the Rokinon, for the rectilinear. If you want the fisheye, it's a 12 millimeter.
Okay.
And it would work, but it's not autofocus. No, it's not autofocus. That's a tough one. I don't have an immediate suggestion for you. In fact, every really wide lens I've ever had that was of any reasonable quality is heavy and giant because that front element is giant. Jeff, hey, it took me to a screen that asked me for my social security number.
Did you give it?
Yeah.
That's the big question.
Yeah,
Did you give it?
We need that.
He's in North Carolina because he's stuck here.
That's right. I'm stuck here learning my vowels.
I try to convince him it's not all vowels. Sometimes it's consonants too.
And I said, is that a new word you learned, consonant?
Well, I said continents to begin with.
That's right.
Then I changed it to consonant.
And then I said you're incontinent. No, I mean you were in the United States.
Okay.
Gerald says, I've been recommended some of those zero distortion Laowa. Now, Laowa's nice. Don't get me wrong. Laowa is a Chinese brand that has really figured out and done some really good stuff. That's Kevin. That's at Laowa, and they have that 15 millimeter macro, which is insane. Because it macro focuses at the lens. You can put something at the lens itself and it will focus on it. It's not that heavy. It's not autofocus, I'm pretty sure, so I don't know if that matters. It's not that big, but I also don't think it's full frame. I don't think it is.
There's another company that's got one. I'm trying to remember what the name of it
is. Laowa's got some good stuff. I'm really excited. They've got that probe lens. I'm wanting to test their new Cine Zoom, which is really has a 25 to 100. It is primo. But hard to spin. Yeah, I would tell you that Laowa is better than Rokinon. I'm not a huge Rokinon fan, but I have owned them and used them many times, so I can't say that I would never own one.
I've got a Rokinon in the van.
Like I said, I won't use it.
It's not mine. I borrowed it.
I mean, I shot with the 14 millimeter for a long time. It's an f2.8. It's a manual lens. I used it a lot for Milky Ways. But in the end, I ended up liking the 20 millimeter Sigma. I used that a lot more. And then I've used the 14 millimeter Sigma, but I just didn't care for it that much. And it is a heavy heavy lens. The 14 millimeter Sigma, it's like that big around. It's huge. So let's see. We've got. Let's see. I don't know if any of this.
Gerald, is that me for video?
I'm sure it's for his real estate. Because for portraiture, it would look really funny.
Well, it's not stills. I'm talking about just video instead of stills.
That's good. This has got some interesting stuff. I'm just looking at my stats that I can use now. That's kind of weird. It doesn't tell me playbacks. Okay. Yes, as long as I'm working. Is the audio okay? I can't really tell because I'm not listening to myself.
And Scott always tells me my audio is horrible, so I'm pretty sure I've jinxed it.
Yeah, I was really expecting to come today and hear Bill's voice and it sound like a telephone live and in person, but it doesn't. It sounds like a normal person, which leads me
a lot.
Which leads me to beg the question.
Yes, for real estate video.
Weight is the bane of my existence with my crappy back. Buddy, you don't get in this industry with a solid back and keep it. You gotta destroy your back to get that shot.
What gimbal do you use? And audio is good.
Audio is good. Yay.
It's because I'm here.
That's true. It is good.
Or I'm making you sound better because I'm off it.
Actually, does he sound like he's on a telephone? Because I'm kind of wondering.
Does it sound like I'm on a telephone?
That's not how a telephone sounds.
I don't know how to do it.
That sounds like you're putting your hand over your mouth. Gosh.
I just need to get my mic, and then it would sound like a telephone.
Right. It could be. Let's see. Tyler says, Gerald, the f4 version of that lens is much lighter. Well, there you go.
And for real estate, that's what you want is you're going to bump it to F8 or F. Well, even at F4, he could shoot.
Well,
wide.
You really wouldn't want to shoot real estate at shallow depth of field because you can't see the whole room.
Yeah,
yeah, that might work. There you go. Tyler comes in for the win. Let's see here. Oh, man, it's funny because we have the 300D Mark II. It's up in the van because we have the camera right here. We had to put it up there because it was right behind it before. We had it all soft. It looked pretty, but I kept staring at the light. It was burning my retinas. So I'm following the sun, looking over the clouds, and the aperture is right where the sun would be. So it's kind of like we're not in the shade anymore, which is genius. I don't know how we.
It's not as much heat as the sun, though.
It's definitely not because of that low LED output.
And because it's in the van, all the bugs are going in his van, and there's a bug curtain here, like you can see right here. And we're going to just trap him in there so he's going to sleep miserable tonight.
And they're all stink bugs, which is really weird.
Yes, they are.
They flew in. I flicked them back out. Gerald says, I have a Fayutech, aka 2000. It's a bit lighter than the Ronin S. And then the Ronin SC has a very low payload. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. That's a tough one. Gerald also says, well, for video, I don't shoot over 2.8 to 4. Agents don't pay enough for me to bring in constant lighting. Yeah, I hear that. Magnus, hello, Bill and Scott. Hello, Magnus. How are you?
What's happening?
Yeah, throw some questions at us since we're both here. And it's not just like Bill pretending he's on the live stream in the background.
Yeah.
He's actually
flushing the toilet.
Right. We didn't have time to set up a video for that. Did anyone happen to notice him walk by, though?
That's a good question.
We didn't find out because I had him walk by like Bigfoot originally.
And I paused and gave the perfect glare to the camera, and then I continued on. Just like the one in California.
And then those lovely ladies did the same thing.
But right, honestly, for it to be a Friday evening in the mountains, you would expect more to be here at the Overlook.
Well, this is kind of the lower Overlook. We had to go to the Overlook that had enough 4G signal to live stream. And
I don't even have 4G signal. I've got LTE here.
Well, he's on Sprint. I mean, it makes total sense. Tim, he says, oh, I saw that. Cool. Yeah, it sucks that I had to drive out to North Carolina to get better internet than my house. But, the things we do for our loyal 8 viewers.
That's about 7 more than what I get, and that's after I view myself.
Well, yeah, but none of us were really going to say that. We felt bad. And I didn't want to tell you that I paid 6 guys overseas to log into your account. They also log into mine, but they can't get connected.
And speaking of that, my daughter would always talk about her best friends, and she always had a new best friend every week. And I kept trying to explain to her those were paid employees.
And a best friend, you don't ever get a new best friend. You always just seem to have a best friend.
You either have a best friend or they're not
just
your
a
best
friend. Or they're just an acquaintance. Exactly. Or they're
Are you my best friend? Are we a wolf pack? Like a 2-man wolf pack?
And so, Gerald, you're... I don't even know you. You just pulled up behind me and stuck your finger in my muffler. That sounded really bad.
Seriously. He sent me a link on Google so I could find him.
That's true.
And he was already at the waterfalls, but his signal showed he was somewhere else because he lost connection on the way to the waterfalls. So I'm in a parking lot looking for a van, not there. So then I decided to go to the waterfalls. I pull up in front of his van, and I have to get out and stare at his license plate to make sure it's from Texas, to make sure it's him.
So, it was me.
It was him.
Magnus says, so what's up with you guys? What happened to the SB50 cinematography challenge?
We were talking about that earlier.
We were talking about that.
We may talk about that on the podcast for a brief moment.
We have to figure out how to make that work properly, because the idea was right. The community was right. Everything was flowing except the time that both of us had to do what we committed to do. That was the real rub. That's why we had to keep going. Well, Bill's in space right now, and Scott's saving a whale underwater. That is something we're going to try to figure out what we can do, because we really loved what was happening. We really loved all y'all's involvement and your contributions and your just community that was being built. We just don't know how to do it. We don't know. We're learning.
I will say this. This was the discussion we had. The people that were in it were really good at what they were learning and what they were doing. Yeah. And so it's Abu, Gerald, Magnus, all of them, they were doing much better than me. But I'm pleased where I'm coming along. I can actually turn the camera on now.
That's true, except for yesterday. I had to do it for you. Gerald says, can you talk about what the Georgia gig is? I cannot. NDAs.
But I can.
I'm really good with my NDAs. He really can't. I can tell you that there's a lot of flux in it right now as to what it will be and when it will be out. It is going to be commercial for television. I can't say anything more. There's been a lot of like, it's not drama, but events that have happened that just make us all kind of go, "You're kidding, right?" It's fun. And I probably won't be able to share most of that, but when the moment something's out there, I'll share what it is. But I'm editing and DITing on that. George says, me no speak English well. That's okay. He's from North Carolina. He don't speak English well either. I'm from Texas, so we invented English. That's what
We were the first English. We had the Lost Colony.
You were the Redcoats?
We had the Lost Colony.
Lost? The show? I never liked that show.
No.
That's because they kept bringing them Flash sideways. I don't know history, especially North Carolina history. So what else is going on, people? What are y'all working on? What are y'all?
While we're waiting for y'all to, ask us questions. Enough about Scott. I'm actually filming a hockey game tomorrow with 3 cameras by myself. And here's the kicker. They want me to have it edited in 30 minutes so it'll play for the after party. I don't know how to do it.
Well, it's going to be fun watching them run around the hockey rink with 3 cameras.
On ice, yeah.
That's right. Bill on ice.
Now, the thing is, they don't know I'm going to be there. I'm breaking and entering and stuff.
I'm pretty sure they're going to know you're there. Where's this guy on the score? Why is he on the rink?
You know how you have the ladies with the ring ladies that hold what round it is in a fight?
Right, yes.
I'm going around telling what period it is, but it's while they're in the middle of the game.
Right.
I'm going to have 3 GoPros mounted around my head.
There's a split-second Bentley. It's, this is not a very busy road today. This is the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is one of the really nice drives, I guess, in the fall. Today it's just, okay, wow, there's another stick bug going in there. It's not looking that light. Yeah, that's an LED. He goes up there and he gets a really nice warm glow. Here we go, Magnus and Gerald. Okay.
I looked at the light. I can't read it anymore.
Scott, do you find that your location in Texas makes getting more of those high-end gigs more difficult? Finding interesting work in Virginia, for me, is few and far between. Yes. Yes, without question. But, I mean, it depends on the types of gigs that you're going for. There are gigs in Texas, but they're not necessarily the gigs that I want to do, or, I mean, I don't really turn down that many gigs, but there's a lot of gigs, but they're not necessarily where I'm trying to hone my craft the most. Did I just pinch my laptop cable? Let me make sure I don't do that. So yeah, location definitely has an effect on your ability, and that's one of the reasons I got the van, is so that I could be local to anybody, so they didn't have to pay travel. That helps get more jobs, but. I am trying to be more into the bigger productions, and so I'll travel to wherever I have to be in part of those. Magnus says, just sitting, looking for some lightning products. Lightning or lighting products? Have you heard about Ellen Krone's products? Are they good quality? Are you talking about the sliders? I mean, they're okay. I can't say that they're junk because I don't think that they're junk. They have some weird quirks to them. I don't. Tell me which one you're referring to. Are you referring to lighting? Ellen Krone lighting was strobes, right?
I don't know. I use constant lights.
Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about. Tell me which one you're talking about. Let's see here. We're still going. We're not dropping frames. That's reasonable. I'm at 30 frames a second. Why am I doing that? That's stupid. No wonder.
Well, you're Scott.
This is true. This has not changed.
We are going to have a nice sunset tonight.
Are we? What makes you say that? What?
I've been talking to Scott about the big white puffies, which is what I call the big monstrous clouds. And you can't see it, but over there is one.
There's a big white puffy over there.
Yep. Over the mountain. That's what I like.
But I could just...
See? Yeah. Right there. A big white puffy.
All right. That's enough of Bill. Let's see here. Yeah, Magnus, let me know which... give me more detail on what you're looking for. I want to make sure I am answering right. Otherwise, I'll go off on a tangent on something that you weren't asking about.
There's another term we used a lot last night. Tangents, yeah. We go off on tangents often.
We spoke of tangents often because we kept going on tangents about tangents.
Yes, we did.
All right, come on, let's get some questions going. Come on, let's get them going. I mean, I'm out here embarrassing myself.
Gerald, how many houses do you shoot per week, for instance? Because
well, he edits.
He what?
He edits.
I thought he shoots them.
His partner shoots the houses.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
I thought. Pretty sure. Gerald is more into the fine arts, the photographies, the portraiture, the landscapes, all of that. I'm pretty sure Gerald does editing, and his partner does the photog. I think. I don't know. Gerald, you could.
Yeah.
You could
tell him he's wrong.
Gerald says, starting to buffer pretty bad, fellas. Oh, it is, isn't it? All right, let me see what I got here. Stream output. Can't change that. I can change video cube. See if I get its output. I'm at 30. Should be back.
He's talking about the.
Okay, they have some strobe lights. Yeah, okay. Excuse me. Must have been that sandwich I had. They have some strobe lights that I'm interested in. Your video about setting up lighting for the Rembrandt style got me really interested in taking some high-end portraits. Yeah, sure. Yeah, for those, yes, those lights are nice. What is it, streaming? It's buffering again?
Yeah.
But it's not. It shows it's...
Okay. Is that a delay, though?
Maybe.
It could be the delay where he said that.
I'm watching the drop frames here, which is a lot. But it's not increasing, which is impotent. Oh man, yours is probably buffering because you put it in the metal. Because you got to give it a minute.
Are we still buffering?
Yeah, how bad are we buffering?
Are we still buffering?
I'm trying to think of it. Was it Nova?
That's when you were fixing it right there. The 30 frames per second.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I used to have Nova. I think Nova was the brand, and they were a really nice, affordable light. The question is, do you really want strobes now? Because I think with the output of lights these days with LEDs, I think you could run hot lights, and you don't have to worry about heating up your studio. And you don't have to worry about what it could turn out like with the flash. So you might
easier to get your settings on camera. That's for sure.
It is because everything is there. Yeah. I think we're at that point. I haven't owned strobes in probably 8 years. Yeah. And Nova. I'm trying to remember. Novas were the last ones I had. I had Nova 500 watt second, but Elechrome are like the top of the line. I thought you were thinking Edelchrome, but Elechrome are the top of the line, really kind of studio strobes. Let's see. Magnus, before spending a bundle on those strobes, I highly recommend you try out the Godoc. Yeah, okay. Yep. Kevin says Elechrome strobes have been around for at least 50 years and are very good. Yeah, exactly. They are. I don't think they're the very top of the line, but they are definitely something that everybody trusts. And I mean, you pay for it, but it's well worth it. Both my partner shoot real estate. Okay. I also edit everything my partner shoots, and he's great off on the camera, but horrible on the computer. I understand. It's like Bill.
You said I was great at something, though, so I'm pretty impressed.
I didn't actually. I just said just like Bill. I didn't tell which part was just like it was the bad part. Yeah. Are we still buffering a lot? Let's see. Is it? Tell us how our buffers are doing. I can't really drop it down much more. Analytics.
I'm trying to look at it on my phone, but I don't know if my phone is buffering because of my weak signal with the LTE.
Right. And I can't. I could change the frame rate, but I would have to stop the stream, change it, and then start the stream back up. If I do that, I have no idea if it is going to reconnect to this one or if it's going to want to try to do a new one.
Your other one's completely gone, by the way.
Yeah. I have no idea. I really think YouTube has made some changes recently that are horrible. Like, for instance, my stream key. They used to assign you a stream address and key that you connect to, and that would be your live stream. They keep changing mine. which is why every time I reconnect, I have to go and copy and paste it and put it in there, which is silly. I like my stream key. Novatron, that's the one. No, yes, was probably the brand. Yes, indeed. And I mean, I found that anything 500 watt seconds was good for all the way up to a family. I had some 300s at first, and I could do like I did portraits of like 2 adults and 2 kids, and then the 500s I could get a larger family in there, and you have a lot. You can always dim those down.
I just pulled the truck into the garage and would shine the high beams.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, he says the buffering has cleared up. Oh, that's good. So now I can kind of sit back and pretend like all my work is done here. Today's video is brought to you by Nature's Twist Orangeade.
0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 caffeine.
The Orangeade that Bill likes.
Yep.
And considering there's so much stuff in here, I couldn't get in. Actually, this is not a sponsored video, so use my Amazon links. Or send super chats.
It's sponsored by Conscious Creative Media.
Yeah, send lots of super chats. I accept all denominations of super chats. The more zeros, the better.
Make sure you denote which ones you want to go to Bill.
Right, and I'll make sure that he doesn't know about those. Why is my nose all stuffy? It's so weird. Must be the talking. Maybe my nose is like, you need to stop talking.
Could be.
That stink bug just went right in. No, you're not. You get out of here. I missed him. Where'd he go? No, he's on you. That's fine. You can hear us scream like a little girl. Run around.
By the way, last night, while we were sitting and chatting about 11 to 1 a.m. during this time, Scott kept standing up. There's somebody in the woods screaming. There's a mountain lion in North Carolina that's stalking us, and I can't hear. So
it was you kind of hear whoa, whoa, whoa. It was really wild.
Gerald, I use this is going to be bad. I use natural light.
You need to repeat the question before you.
Gerald says, Bill, what kind of lighting do you use for real estate stills? And I use natural light, and depending on how much light or how dark the room is, I will either shoot 3 or 5 brackets. And very seldom do I have to combine them for HDR and then tone it down. I'll pick the bracket that looks like I can pull the highlights down enough out of the windows and bring the shadows up enough, or the bracketed shot out of that. And I go through each of those, and that's kind of how I do it. I'm a lazy real estate photographer. I don't get big houses. I get little things. I had one the other day that still had bloodstains from the murder that happened in it. So, but it paid that day.
There you go. Magnus is asking, he likes the way that strobes tend to make the background separate from the person, and then he wonders, is that possible with constant lighting? Yes. The thing about light is 100% scalable in every possible way, and it works exactly the same way every time. So if it's a strobe, flash, the sun, doesn't matter. If it is the size of the source and the brightness is how it works. So to separate from, if you were to take the same lights, constant hot lights, and put them where the strobes were with the same reflectors, and turn them to the same brightness at the output, your photo would look indistinguishable. You can't tell. The only difference might be the pupil size. So typically on strobes, you have a very low wattage modeling light, which keeps it very dark in there. And then when they pop the flash, your eyes, your pupils will be larger, and sometimes that can make it look more natural, depending on how much light you're putting in there. But it's kind of a minor thing. Yeah, it just varies. Vincent Garzone. Sup, guys? How are you guys? We are fine, Vincent. Thank you for asking. Are you fine?
I'm good.
He-
I'm excellent.
Do you thank you for asking?
Thank you for asking. I'm downwind from Scott. That's the problem.
No comment. Let's see. Gerald says, "Hey, last house I shot, I had to Photoshop the dead bugs from the stained carpet." Yeah.
It honestly, like I said, I'm in North Carolina, so I get a lot of that, and I'm not in the Raleigh-Durham market or the Greensboro and Winston-Salem market, nor am I in the Charlotte market where the really big stuff is. And so yeah, I get some of the bad stuff. I did have a streak where I had some very nice houses that were portfolio worthy. Thank goodness. If I'd only shot portfolio worthy shots.
You know, you can always improve, Bill. You can always improve.
And Gerald, what about this? If your back hurts from a big lens, could you put like a little concave or something lens on front of a drone and just fly it through the house and blow stuff around?
On that note, no. You could, and it might add a lot more dust or ambiance to the air.
We're as far from California.
Yes, we are literally about as far from California as you can get if the Earth was flat. But technically, if you go the other way, it's further. We're in North Carolina right now, so I'm here on my way down to Atlanta, and I got Bill to drive up here. It took a lot of convincing, oddly enough. I kind of thought he might like, oh sure, absolutely, but he's like, didn't you say you were like, I'm eating cereal right now? I'm like, so. Gerald says work is work.
Bingo.
I'm going to caveat that one. Paid work is paid work because exposure it's work, but it isn't work. It's not quite the same.
And Gerald, you mentioned before about it's hard to find the type of gigs in your area. I'm the same way. In Eastern North Carolina, you don't get those type of gigs. I travel everywhere. That's why I have a Sprinter van as well. Mine's not as nice as Scott's, but it works. And that's why I go to St. Louis. That's why I go to New York City. I've got a New York City job coming up. Maybe even going to Fargo, North Dakota here before too long. Is so that I can get the work that I need. But it also allows me to travel and do some of the landscapes and see some of the places that I've always wanted to see. So
it is a beauty thing for sure. I definitely enjoy it. What is that heading towards the sun? Wow, it looks like a missile. Oh, it just took out the sun. I know. What? Thanks, Bill.
I ruined it.
Bill's new to comedy.
Well, it actually has to be comedy.
Yes, like I said, Bill's new to comedy. That was the only joke I had.
And I blew it for him?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It blew itself, I promise.
Good stuff, though. Let's fire off some questions. Come on. How many people we got? Let's see. We'll be going 48 minutes.
Oh, and Magnus,
wow.
On the portraits, I've got a portrait project coming up soon, and I'm going to be using constant lights for it. I'm going to use two lights. I'm going to have one that's off to the high left, shoot about 10, 15 degrees down, and then I'm going to have one on the backdrop, shooting toward the backdrop to kind of halo the backdrop around the person that I'm shooting the portrait for. But that's how I'm kind of controlling those lights, and I can adjust the lumens on the light that's on the back.
Gerald says, LOL, I almost looked at picking up a DJI Osmo for the tiny pocket, but the low light is just awful on the tiny. Yeah, that's really bad. Really bad.
You could get some of those lume cubes and put like 5 of them around it. Then you won't have low light anymore.
I know that guy.
Do you?
Yeah, Mornay. Mornay is a friend. Mornay started Lume Cube. He's a friend of a friend. And my friend married him.
6 degrees of separation
that's
with
right.
Scott Balcom.
That's right. And we all had cigars and drank, but Bill doesn't do cigars and he doesn't drink. So it's kind of like.
I drink Nature's Twist, Orangeade.
And that's right. Looks the same coming out as going back in. Flip that, reverse it. Magnus says, what do Magnus? What do you guys think about the anamorphic lenses for cinematography that look so dope? I recently watched a movie and I saw that they had used that kind of lenses. Was like, that's amazing. Yeah, anamorphic is a lot of fun. It's really cool. It's also really it's a different style of shooting. So you either have to have a lens that is designed specifically as an anamorphic lens, which would be a single focus lens, or you're adding an anamorphic adapter to a lens, and then you're dual focusing. So you're pulling focus on your lens, and then you're having to pull focus on your anamorphic. So that makes it interesting. But I personally love the way anamorphics look. I have an anamorphic adapter. I have the SLR Magic 1.33 adapter, and I use it periodically. I did a live stream once completely with the anamorphic. No one noticed. I didn't have enough light streaks going through.
Did they not notice?
It probably wasn't streaming. Yeah. Well, nobody was on it. Yeah. The other Atlas Orion lenses are pretty phenomenal. They are expensive, so you keep that in mind. You're talking about $8,000 to $12,000 for a lens. But they look beautiful, and then you're going up to, every brand of cinema lens, or every brand that makes cinema lenses, is going to have some type of anamorphics. Agenu, Ari, which is Zeiss, and they're going to cost you anywhere from $30,000 to say $85,000 a piece. And then there's a whole Panavisions as well. Thank you, Bill, for the tip. Yep. Gerald says, so finally, finally watched Mindhunter Season 2. As a real estate shooter, all those distorted verticals at the outer edges of the frame drove me insane. Why?
Because real estate, you have to watch your verticals.
But it's always about serving your story. And this is what I keep preaching over and over again. It doesn't matter. Do you shoot with this lens or this camera, whatever? Always serve your story. And in this case, in Mindhunter, it was supposed to be that way on purpose. It's to take your eyes away from the edges and focus on the conversation that was being had. Let's see here. Then Magnus says, that theory, 6 degrees of separation, is a fun fact that the Swedish comedy team tried and fly all around the world to try to get a single person, and sometimes they did it just 6. Yep, it's a thing. I don't know where he's going. Let's take the camera and find out. All right, so it's just you and me. I don't know where he came from. He just like out of the he's back. What is that? Oh, wow.
Scott and I are old, and we have old eyes. So I have a magnifier, so maybe we can read y'all's chat.
That's pretty good. You can't say that. You'll overheat my... That's a good thought.
His laptop will overheat if I put the magnifier on it.
Man, I've got non-buffering... Oh! That's pretty awesome.
There you go.
Hey, there you go, Gerald. Looks just like Mindhunter. You can just use that when you need it. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Well, I need to use it, but I don't need to. I have good vision. I'm not old like Bill. There's only like 2 or 3 people connected. Is that true? I feel like there's more. YouTube really sucks at analytics. I mean, they're all dropping. They're all like, oh my God. They're just talking about North Carolina. So what else is going on?
Scott got a thumbs up.
I did? Who gave me a thumbs up? Oh,
you did.
Oh, I haven't given myself a thumbs up. I can't even, I'm afraid to. There we go. Gerald says, Scott, so with the lenses they use, having those outer edges distorted, like that was intentional. This is something that is wanted in cinematography. Yes, so on Mindhunter, those were not actually anamorphics. So all of that was being done in post. There was a lot of discussion about that. I am trying to remember which lenses they were using, but I believe they were Summicrons that they were using, which are not anamorphics. And they added, there's a lot of lens flaring and that kind of bulbous kind of distortion that you're talking about, which is typically anamorphic. That was added all in post, which is interesting, to show you that you can do a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of shadow on you right here, Scott, so I'm going to kind of help you out.
Oh, that does look nice. Like the crop sensor magnifier. That is like the reverse of a crop, technically. I guess it is a crop, but it's, I don't know. It didn't make you any prettier. That could work. Try that. Just do your mouth. Let me see that. It's gonna be too much fun.
It's like a Fresnel lens.
A what?
Fresnel.
A Fresnel?
Whatever. This is North Carolina. It's Fresnel.
Then it should be called Fresnel.
No, it's got an S in it.
No, it's silent. I can't see my mouth.
You got to go up.
Oh, there it is. Well, then
your beard's in the way.
Story of my life. This is weird. This doesn't work. This is a dumb idea. Magnus is, ha ha. And I'm also saying that Magnus laughs like that. Ha ha, not ha ha ha. Don't you think he laughs like ha ha? I'm sure,
I don't know.
I'm sure Tyler
Magnus,
laughs.
how do you laugh?
Well, he can't make the sound.
He can make the sound where he's at.
But then we wouldn't know.
We would when the sound carries here.
It's not going to carry here. The earth is flat. It's going to fall off the edge of the earth.
As long as where are you, Magnus?
He's in Sweden, I think.
Sweden? Then you need to aim west.
He's not in Sweden. He's in Finland? I forgot, man. You're in
actually, you need to aim southwest, and then we'll hear it.
He's in Europe.
We'll hear it in a little while.
No, it doesn't work like that.
You would believe how many meteors we saw last night.
We didn't see, meteorites. Because a meteor would be out in space. A meteorite enters the Earth's atmosphere.
Maybe it just glanced off and went back
but
up.
I kept trying to not say shooting star because that's how I've always called them. They're not stars. We even have pop-ups here. Ooh, look how golden I look.
Use the other side, it would be golden.
I don't need gold. My skin is naturally beautiful. Gerald says, so if I was looking for an anamorphic lens to play with to see how I liked it, what is the cheapest I can get away with? Probably, I would look at the SLR Magic 1.33. It's an adapter that you screw onto the front. You can only use it in limited, you're probably not getting any of this. You can only use it in limited focal lengths and limited apertures. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. You can find them used for probably about $500 or $600. Otherwise, what people do is they buy anamorphic
That's what they do on the Parkway.
Right. They buy anamorphic projection lenses, and then they convert them. There's a whole Facebook group on anamorphics that cover all of that. And there's a lot of home belts, and I think there's a forum group as well. There's a lot you can play with, but if you're looking for something kind of ready-made, the SLR Magic is kind of fun, and you can adapt it. I think they tell you between 35 and 70 millimeters is the range you can use it in, and between like an f4 and an f8. But you can't go higher and you can't go lower. The reason is that because of the way it distorts and it stretches, it then it will exceed your sensor size is what it does, because it's stretching out the image a lot. And then you need to be able to de-squeeze it. So what happens is it's going to stretch vertically, and also you can turn those to do the opposite, which is really freaky. If you ever see a movie where somebody feels like they're drunk and you see them kind of going like this in the image, it's because they're rotating the anamorphic, and so it kind of makes them stretch and go. That's a pretty common effect. But you can play with it and have a good time. And I mean, it's a lot of fun, and you just turn around and sell it if you're bored. But you will have to stretch it when you're done, or de-squeeze it is what it's called.
Can you rent them pretty cheap?
Yeah, you can rent. You can rent some from Lens Pro to Go. They have Lens Pro to Go has.
That's perfect.
They have what brand are they? They are the SLR Magic all-in-one lenses. So it's a single focus lens. They have those, and you can rent those, and they're kind of fun. They had some Kawas and some Lomos at one point, but they were they didn't survive packing very well. So like lenses are actually very fragile. So if you bang them around, they get out of spec quite easily. Why is there a bee in my? So they had to be really taken care of well, and when you rent those out, they didn't do that well.
Have y'all noticed Scott's a lot like a dog squirrel?
That's true. Sweden, there we go. So yes, Southwest, there we go. Magnus says, Gerald, good question. I want to buy, but they are so expensive. So the real way anamorphics are shot is a 2-to-1. They're not 1.33. They're a 2-to-1 or a 1.8-to-1, but typically it's a 2-to-1. And they don't shoot in widescreen and then bring it down to the ultra widescreen. They shoot it in 4:3, which is the old television standard. And the 2-to-1 will then take it out to the 2.39-to-1 aspect ratio. So if you're looking for the absolute, and what that does is if you look at bokeh in the background, you'll see circular bokeh on a normal photo or normal image with a 1.33. It'll somewhat get oblong, and then on a 2-to-1, it's going to get really oblong, and that's what gives you that cool anamorphic look. What are you doing?
Trying to reflect light.
You're reflecting it. There's lots of. Am I dark? I keep reading. But I mean, yeah. I mean, SLR Magic is great for that. So the SLR Magic, if you're talking about the adapter of the lens, the adapter is threaded, and it's a 62 millimeter front, and then it comes with a couple of rings, so you can adapt it. I've used it on my 24-70 with an 82 millimeter, and you put it on there. You just can't use it at 28 millimeter or 24. You have to use it between like 35 or so.
It's used on the front of the lens.
Yeah, you screw it on like you would a filter, and it's about this long. And it's about that big around, and then again you have to double focus. So you pull your focus on your lens, and then your anamorphic, you're going to have to set it to whether you're near or far. And then you can kind of focus through, but it's not necessarily. On the single focus anamorphics, which are the all-in-one lenses, you can do.
And then you would have drop-down rings that come with it to handle the different lenses.
Right, and it does come with it. It comes with 4, if I remember correctly. But they do make the all-in-ones, and they make those in EF. They make them in they make Sony E. I'm trying to remember what else. They make them definitely in PLs. Magnus says, so why is it the only lights that get the cool stretched long line effect through?
Is it flare through the lens?
Oh, so are you talking about flare, or are you talking about the bokeh? So the bokeh is, it has to do with the aperture inside creating the bokeh, and it gets stretched, but it never really. I'm not 100% certain. I thought I knew that answer, and my gut tells me that it has to do with the distance, that it is correcting more closer than. Was that a dog?
I think it's down in the valley and echoing up.
Wow, That's a hell of a thing. Yeah, I think I'd have to get more of an answer on that because I'm not really sure. But it is anamorphics that gives you that bokeh that is oblong and football shaped is basically the way they describe it. And I do love that bokeh. And then the streaks come from the coatings. If you just like the light streaks, so I'll give you this one to play with. If you just like the light streaks, get a thin piece of monofilament fishing line and put it vertically across your lens. You can put Scotch tape on there, just vertically, and then shine light at it, and you'll get streaks out to the side. You won't see it in your image, but you'll see the streaks. And then if you want that oblong bokeh, he was being very nice there.
We had one up here a little while ago, and Scott was going, "What is that? A chainsaw?" No, it was a moped.
It sounded like a chainsaw. Get out of here, Pete.
Maybe stings you.
He won't, because I just knocked him into
Didn't Scott be like running around back here, you know,
just doing that number.
fall down the
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate the beer. Also, you can do if you take a clear lens and you do an oblong. You take a piece of not like clear filter, and take a piece of vinyl and then cut out a football shape on it and put that on the front of your lens, you will get the oblong bokeh. You can also, just if you didn't know, you can have a filter with vinyl on it cut out with your logo. And if you stop it down enough and put that on there, all of your bokeh will look like the logo. They did that in Saturday Night Live. If you ever watched the intros where there was at night in the streets, and then you'd see them rack the focus, and then all the lights became SNL. That was all done by cutting out a bokeh, just a pattern.
Well, it's the same way like a pinhole when you're looking at eclipse. So,
well, it's the same concept. Yeah, you're affecting your bokeh, but you're literally affecting the shape of the bokeh. The image is actually shooting through it, and there's enough image coming through that you don't notice that as you're shooting, but the background bokeh will be that way. I would demonstrate that now, but that is such a tiny little sensor, I don't think I could. Magnus says flares. Yes, flares. Get some monofilament is fishing line. It's the clear fishing line is all you want. And you just need the thinnest one you can get and stretch it vertically like this across the front. Just tape it to it and have some fun. You'll laugh at how easy that works. Fishing line. Let's see. Gerald says, do you lose some image quality like you do with a speed booster? Yes, I mean, absolutely. And there are no crystal clear anamorphic lenses. I mean, that is kind of one of the allures of anamorphics is it creates this
mystery,
abstractness on the edges that focus your attention towards the middle. And people have seen it so much they fall in love with it. I love anamorphics. I mean, some of the best anamorphics. I mean, look at Die Hard. The anamorphics on that are insane, and those are they're Panavisions, and they were shooting them at like They said they were wide open. I think they were like F2 or T2. I mean, it was just absolutely, maybe it was T15. And I mean, they just look beautiful. That's anamorphics for you. Magnus says, I like the Harley sound in the background. Yes, they pulled in right there. And then he smoked his cigarette and looked at the view. And then he just drove off. But he was very nice when he left because he didn't rev his engine. Those are some great ideas, fishing lines. That's what I'm here for. I learned that one a long, long time ago. And I've always loved that one. It's a lot of fun. And you can change the orientation of the fishing line. It goes opposite of what you'd expect. It is not the length of the fishing line that creates the flare. It is the reflection of the light. So it hits a curved surface of the fishing line and it reflects it outward. So vertical to get horizontal streaks, horizontal to get vertical streaks.
Since we're talking about lights, here's a question for all of you. Last night, Scott pulled out a green laser. We shot it straight ahead. And, Scott's interrupting my little talk here. We could see the light leave the laser. Continuously. It wasn't just a flash. We could see the light leave the laser. Has anybody experienced that? And if so, do you know why?
So literally, like when we were, like I would sit there and go click, 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 and you would see the beam of light go, you, and not just, on, off like the speed of light normally would. You'd see it kind of go, you.
If anybody shot a BB gun, it was about the speed of a BB as well.
It looked like a BB. You could see the BB going. It looked, the laser was not instant on or instant off. It looked like a freaking laser gun. We're trying to figure that out. We speculate, was it the dust in the air?
And there wasn't a whole lot of dust because I could look at it from the side because I was trying to see if I looked from the side, if I could see it move. And I couldn't see the laser at all. So there was no reflection sideways. But looking down the laser, you could see the laser take off. So
laser beams. Is it getting darker out here? What is it?
Yeah, you got cloud build up there, and then plus the sun right behind the mountain that's in front of it.
Well, then I can do this. I can adjust this a little bit.
That's what you need to do. I mean, right now the mountains are silhouetted behind us.
I can change the brightness over here.
We're going to change the brightness, then I'm going to show y'all something.
Sorry, we can't change Bill's brightness. That's stuck. Why can't? Oh, I can't. There we go.
There you go.
Look at that. Well, ooh, that's too much. Go the other way. That looks pretty. Now we can change the.
All right.
Well,
now,
Scott, turn this down. There we go.
I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
To move right here for just a second.
Okay.
And if y'all see, if I can move this.
My wallet. Look at that.
If you look right over his shoulder, you see the Blue Mountains. That's why this is called the Blue Ridge. The Blue Ridge Mountains.
Wow. And that is your fun tip for the day, folks.
Yep. And in certain spots, they layer really nice. And we got clouds. I'm hoping we get good light here. That would be awesome. Yeah, have a nice sunset behind us.
I think you need to dim it down again. Yeah, I mean, we're here for you folks. I told Bill, I said, no, man, we're just keep going. We're going to keep going. Exposure.
Gerald, go to the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store or something like that and get one of the little pet lasers and try it. Just aim and at night.
It's got to be green.
And get the green one, aim and shoot and kind of look down the barrel of the laser, so to speak, and see if it does it to you. Get them for $1, $2.
Are you just saying that, or did he ask a question? Because if he asked a question, you need to repeat the question.
Gerald, no idea why, but sure sounds cool.
Yeah, I bought.
I don't do live streams.
You used to be able to buy the lasers Amazon a lot, and do not point them in airplanes. Do not do that. Don't do it. But
nor do you point them in the sensors of cameras.
That's true. You will blow out your sensor and you're done. I mean, it's a one-shot deal. But I bought green ones on eBay. I bought it's like a pack of 3 on eBay, and I mean they're great. They're super high-powered, and you can pew pew pew. It's a lot of fun. Let's see here. Gerald says no idea why it was. Yeah, it was just really weird. I was sitting there doing it, and I was like, well, maybe it's just maybe I'm anticipating it. So I showed it to him. He's like, no, I see that.
I got to know. What if I run the cell phone camera at 960 frames per second tonight, and we'll fire it and see if we get
There's nowhere near enough light for you to capture that. In order to run 960, you need the sun or the aperture 300D this close to the actual thing. There's no way. The laser's not bright enough. Unless I point it directly at your camera, we can try that.
Your camera?
No, you said 960 on your Samsung. We'll just shoot it that way.
But you can't shoot directly at it.
I can. It's your camera.
If you shoot directly,
but it's your camera.
If you shoot directly at it, then it's not going to be able to see the light coming in, because if it sees the light, that means the light's already hit it.
Well, I'll aim just below it, and it'll kind of from a distance. It'll look really cool. Kevin Kelly says, green laser, or were you shooting through green smoke? Wink, wink. Yeah, no. He doesn't smoke. I brought cigars to smoke, but yeah, no, we were not shooting.
However, I did have smoke in my van because I cooked in my van last night.
It's
cooking, heavy fog on
cooking
the
is a very, it's a loose term, I would say.
I heated up red hots.
That's right. He heated red hots up
on a burner.
Oh, electric bike. It's not that cool. Yeah, it was. I'm cooking hamburgers tonight, but Bill's not getting any.
And another thing that I found out since I got face to face with you here.
Yes, Bill.
Thanks.
Talk to me.
Anyway,
talk to me, Goose.
I'm 6 foot.
It's true.
This cat's like 8'12".
It's 8'13".
I mean, look, sitting beside each other. Now he's slumping down. You can still sit straight up. Dude is big.
I am big.
And he's tall too.
Yeah. Big. Me big.
I want the sun to just blow those clouds orange.
It's not going to happen because you want it. But, you never know.
I don't know if it'll happen because of the mountains.
Yeah.
The mountain.
Well, you get the reflection. Yeah, you get that bounce off. It's kind of cool. Now I got to get closer so I can read. Magnus says, I have been asked to make a video for a wedding company, but I'm not sure my camera, Canon 1DX Mark II, will damage sensor from the wedding lighting. What do you think? If there are lasers, you tell them no lasers. And yes, it will absolutely damage with a laser. If it is not a laser, it will not damage you in any way.
But you can also put a filter on it to dim down that light.
Dim?
You want to dim down the brightness of the laser, laser of the weld.
Well, I don't think it'd be a problem. I don't think you need to dim it down. I think he's going to need as much light as possible because he wants to get the people on the dance floor, not the lights.
Did it say a welding? Welding company.
Wedding light.
Welding. WEL.
Oh, wow. I should read. So it's a welding company and a welding light. Okay. The answer to that is no, the welding light will not damage it. But yes, you should be running an ND filter on there just because it will be far, far brighter than your camera can read. Also, I would shoot it at a higher shutter speed so that everything is not a blur, unless you want it to be a blur.
If you're doing a video, you might want to do auto ISO too, so it'll go from where you can see the person and then go to the brightness when he makes contact of the weld.
I guess you could. I would, if I was doing a video, I would most likely be shooting the guy as he's welding and it's blowing it out because I'm exposed for him. And then I would do a cut in of welding exposed properly so you could actually see it. You wouldn't know that it was two different shots. It would just look like you're doing it.
He wants a jump cut transition. I was just thinking a cool transition.
I wouldn't jump cut. It would actually be two different shots, which is called a cut. Welding. Wow, that's a whole different thing than wedding.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no lasers in welding.
You didn't get quite close enough.
No, I didn't. The light is blinding me. Welding. I've shot tons of welding, and it's really awesome. If you have slow motion, shoot it with slow motion. Now, 1DX Mark II can do 60, right, or 120. 120. Shoot it at 120, up the shutter speed for more than a 180. So I'd be shooting that 120 frames a second at 1/500th of a second with an ND on the front would be the best. It's going to look primo. There's so many colors in welding. It's cool. You get the white light, but the sparks are this golden amber, and they just fly everywhere. In slow motion, looking awesome. Really looking awesome. You could also shoot it the other way. You could do 120 frames a second at 1/20th of a shutter speed, which will streak everything slightly as it flies. Not much, but a little bit. Kevin says, Carl Strauss, pictorial photographer and cinematographer, did a lot of work with different aperture designs to change the look of out of focus. Yeah, exactly. You can you can totally change bokeh with the shape of your aperture. We all see circles because apertures on most lenses are fins that are designed to close in a circle. Magnus says, okay, I have a variable ND filter. Yes, there you go. Perfect. So I can take some stops down. They want slow-mo, like 120. Yep, there, the guy welding a motorcycle, and can be really look cool. Yeah, the way I would do it, Magnus, is go there before the actual shoot and get him to show you a couple of welds and video it so you can try a couple of different settings. But you'll see what I'm talking about. And you can also show him what it looks like. But 120 frames a second on welding looks awesome. Really
if you share it on Facebook, make sure you tag us. That would be cool to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. You can put it on the SB50 Cinematography Challenge. I mean,
we've got the page.
Yeah, it's still there. There's still people on it.
Unless Facebook has deemed us unworthy.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm involved. That was a dig.
It's raining.
It does feel like it's raining, doesn't it?
Either that or Scott spit up and it just landed on him.
Sometimes I look like this. I've kind of felt a little missed. It's got to look really funny.
It's moving this way, too.
People driving by, and then there's these two people out here. It looks like a news interview. We clearly don't look like we're from the news.
and we're talking, we're beside a van that's kind of nice, and then I've got a pedophile van right behind him.
That's Uncle Touchy's magic puzzle van back there.
Give away my secrets.
Secrets. See, I will definitely tag you guys that. There you go. Because we love to see other people's work. Because honestly, other people will. I see somebody do something, and I'll be like, I never thought about doing it at that angle, and then I'll use that angle the next time I do it because it's how we learn. We learn by imitation.
And by the way, we'll talk about one of the people that watches your live streams every now and then. One of the two people that watch your live streams every now and then. Just kidding. We know there's more than that.
Yeah, both people and that third person that watches the live stream.
Right. But Abu has got a music library now for stock, and so if y'all know Abu on Facebook, check him out because that might be kind of cool.
Yeah, I was listening to it last night. It was kind of interesting.
I didn't even know he tagged us in it until this morning.
That's not my fault. That's your fault.
It's because right around here is where I got the signal, and I got like 26 notifications.
Dim this down a little bit. Give us that nice golden look.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look pretty amazing.
I wonder what the live view would look like in a hyperlapse.
I don't think you could do that. How would you?
You just speed it up really fast.
Time?
After we're done.
I thought you were talking about
turn these long 3-hour marathons into like a 3-second video.
We talked about that. Time is a construct. You can't alter that unless you're traveling faster than the speed of light.
We were talking really deep stuff.
We were talking really deep stuff last night. Because my question is always this one, and I'll just pose it to all you. So if you're traveling away from the Earth in a spaceship, and you're traveling at twice the speed of light, and you turn on your radio, what would you hear? That's my question. I know what I think would be. What do you think? What would it sound like? Yeah. Put your comments down below.
Since he all got up in the camera like this, my question was, if we have something traveling at almost the speed of light towards the Earth, and the Earth is coming around, coming toward it, so now we have more than the speed of light, will it hit us before we know it? Because we'll never see it since the overall effect is faster than the speed of light. Mic I can drop?
Yeah. We also talked about black holes and what the experience inside of a black hole would be, and that the theory of relativity would probably, that's really bothered me too. That needs to be fastened to the Velcro, but there's also a string on it that needs to be done first.
They have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. He's also a little OCD like I am. So what else is going on, people? What else is happening? Talk to me, folks. tell me. I mean, this has been a successful live stream. I don't get that many lately. It's been really, been really bad at the house. I had to travel all the way to North Carolina just to get a good live stream.
Deep thoughts like in the old Saturday Night Live. Remember that?
Oh, hey, Kyle. How are you, buddy? Are you still in Florida or are you traveling back up? And now, Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. Now I'll probably get demonetized because they're like, that voice was spot on. So we're also doing, we got to do that today. We got to do the world's greatest photography podcast. We'll have to.
We'll be able to do that afterwards.
Anytime you like.
I mean, we got light.
We do have light. We have plenty of it.
We got plenty of cameras.
We have plenty of cameras. We have plenty of that.
I've got bad audio. You got good audio.
I have plenty of audio.
I've got some questions that I did not tell you what the questions were last night. So,
well, that's gonna be. It is raining.
See, and now I'm not.
Rain is going to mess with the sunset, though.
But the sunset's done. I mean, it's behind the mountain. We're not going to see it.
It's so blue out. Is it blue? You can see the light in front of the aperture light.
We were looking for satellites last night, too.
We saw many of them. It would have been so much better if we had some.
We saw Pluto. We saw
Pluto. It was not Pluto. You can't see it with a naked eye.
We saw Jupiter descend, and we saw Saturn rise.
Kyle says, howdy. No, sir. Got home yesterday at 4 a.m. Well, welcome back. Glad to see you on the road live streaming. Yes, indeed. Magnus says, how can I find your podcast?
World's greatest photography podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many of your other favorite podcast sites. How's that?
You should have given me that audio and I would have recorded it for you. And it's the world's greatest photography podcast can be found. Let's see here. Kyle says, if I had known you were on an adventure, I would have planned to meet up. Well, that would have been cool. But, you were on a family fun time. I get that. Gerald says, look forward to checking out that episode. We haven't shot it yet, so I'm looking forward to it, too.
And I'm not sure if it's going to go out this week or the following week.
Well, didn't you say you had like 17 in the can already?
Well, I don't have that many in the can. And actually, I've got one.
I was trying to build you up. Wow, he does not play well. I was trying to make it sound like Bill was like this Superman with his...
I have Ansel Adams coming on as a guest. You know that time travel thing? It worked.
It didn't work. You are in the Matrix. Now we got to talk about the Matrix last night, too.
By the way, Ansel Adams, the name of my... When you have a Sprinter van like these, you have to give your vans names. The name of my van is Vansel Adams.
My Sprinter van's name is unnamed. It does not have a name. The reason is because I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be a giant, tall, fat dude that drives a Sprinter with no name. I have achieved all my goals in life.
Well, Vansel Adams also has a nickname called Boo, the base of operations. And a pedophile van.
Right. You want some ice cream? Say, would you fellas like to come down to my base?
Play Taylor Swift, have some ice cream, we're good to go.
Tay-Tay. Everybody love the Tay-Tay. Oh, good times. Good time. Look at us. We're an hour and a half in. Really good. It's kind of leveled out. We got the blue background. Oh, really pretty cool.
Why don't y'all tell me some questions, some deep, dark secrets that you want me to find out from Scott in the podcast?
Ask some questions. Ask some questions that you want to know that he can ask in the podcast. That's cool.
He can also answer them here if y'all don't want to watch the podcast or listen to the podcast. But you can also find the world's greatest photography podcast on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
It says it's really choppy now. Somebody just pulled up. Probably took all my internets. Choppy that is. It looks fine. Is it any better right now? I mean, there's a bug flying around. Yeah, use up all this. Oh, there's your tree.
Yeah, my tree.
My tree. Talking about my tree. No,
That looks good.
Yeah, that looks good.
We're back.
It must be good. And we're back. Oh, yeah.
You darkened things up, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
I wonder.
The sky. What? Can you take a picture now?
Well, I've got a picture, but can... Look. There it is. That's our setup.
We'll go take another picture back here. Stand back there where you get the whole van and everything. And then make sure you tap
He
on.
wants me to fall off this 1,500-foot cliff. Hi, I'm Bixby.
It's only 1,200 feet. He's such an exaggerator. Take it and make sure you get this all, because I want to use that to show how the aperture is working awesome. Pull your pants up, boy.
I did, didn't I? Oh, not selfie mode.
It's the world greatest photography podcast. And let's see here. Kevin says, if you were traveling at light speed 1 light year away from the Earth, you would hear last year's programming playing backwards. That's what I
That's one of the things we were talking about.
That's what I said. And you wouldn't have to be a year away if you were traveling away at twice the speed of light. If you turn it on, everything would just play backwards.
Look, we got a flare.
Yeah. Also, if you really want to flare, just put your fingerprint on your cell phone camera, and it'll flare like crazy.
This is our setup. That's his van, and that's the light inside, and there's a camera in there, and a computer, and stuff.
Gerald says, yeah, better at the moment. Yeah, Magnus says, I got one question. How did you guys learn all about cinematography? Okay, that's a question that for the
I'll be right there.
For the podcast. Well, no, it's a question for your podcast, genius.
Oh, okay.
He was giving you material. Gold, Jerry, gold.
Well, he said how you guys, right?
Use guys. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how I learned cinematography.
But he asked you that you asked for the.
Well, I'm gonna be asking you. You're not interviewing me. I'm interviewing you.
That's true.
I learned from Scott. That's why I'm not really good at it.
Oh. Well, that went cold fast.
Here's the pedophile van.
Uncle Touchy's magic puzzle van.
It works.
What for pedophile? I've got over 3 minutes.
They're gonna start linking me to Epstein.
Yeah, no kidding. That's really weird. Okay, let's see here. Magnus says, nice setup. There you go.
Stock sale I just had.
Second to none.
It's the corner of second and none.
Yeah. I really wonder what people that pull up here to look at this beautiful view are thinking when they come out. There's a live television broadcast right out here. Kind of waiting for a cop to pull up going, what are you boys doing? Well, let me tell you a story there, Pops. Watch this. He wants me to watch his phone, which y'all can't see.
No.
That makes for really good live stream.
I'm going to show them. If I can do this.
This may be his first video chat.
Yeah, this is the first time I've done a live. So this is what we did today.
This is pretty cool.
If I can do this. Will it pick up the sound here?
Yes. You have to turn up your sound.
I'm new to this.
It's better than this.
Try this again.
Well, now you just try again.
All right. So let me get. Is that not the coolest thing?
It's pretty cool. They're big, giant elk. Dave's real big. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Bill's like, well, I can take you to this valley, you can get elk. And I was like, ooh, I like elk. And he's like, I didn't let you down, did I? I'm like, no, that was awesome. Let's go again. Let's go in the morning.
And then he overslept.
I didn't oversleep. I went back to bed. I was up. You were not.
I was up. I was up at 6:15.
I was up at 6:15, and you were not. So your clock is wrong. Well, I got up right at 6:15. And then I looked out. It was dark.
And you didn't hear me knock on your door?
No, I didn't hear that. I must have gone back to sleep.
You went back to sleep back. And then I've got like a torch, a kind of bright flashlight. I went to the front of his van and shined a light on him, and he had his head all slumbered over like this.
All I know is I looked up at the skylight, and it was completely pitch black. And I was like, well, it ain't sunrise yet. Yeah, it's spitting out here. But it's all right.
You got to pull the canopy.
No. Let's see here. Gerald says, wow, that was awesome. Yeah, it was really cool.
Gerald, you need to come down here especially in October with us. Well, not Scott. I'll still be around.
Kyle says it's awe-inspiring. It's really cool. I mean, I was trying to get closer. It said you couldn't be within 50 yards. So I went to within 50 yards, and then they said, you need to step back.
and I don't think he was within 50 yards. They just kind of, the quote from the volunteers that were there were, I don't want to have to fill out a report.
I don't want to have to fill out a report for that. That's what I kept saying. I'm going to push this back just ever so slightly. Keep the rain off of it. Oh, now I can read it better. That's nice.
It's picking up.
It is picking up.
It's raining on us on our live stream.
It's raining now.
Raining on our.
I don't know.
What do you think? What?
I was just being silly.
I was like, it's raining on our parade. You're
raining
like
on my parade.
Magic Mike over there.
I'm not Magic Mike. There's nothing magic about me.
Does that work?
Well, it kind of shows up in the. Yeah, I'm just hoping it doesn't turn into a Faraday cage, because then my cell phone signal is going to
pour all the water that way.
It just dumps it on the laptop. It's one of those Rube Goldberg machines. It's like dun, 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 dun. Dumps it all onto my laptop.
Things like that.
Well, you just can't make that up. Oh boy, that was.
I don't know if we really want to saddle it either.
It's fine there.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. We'll be ending here really shortly, if not sooner. Because all right, guys, we're gonna have to bump out of here. It's about to pour down rain. But you have anything to say quickly?
Quickly?
Yes, quickly.
Anything?
Yeah. So
is that what you? Okay.
Hurry before I get wet. All right. As always, if you have any questions or comments, do feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I try to respond to each and every one of you. Just to say thank you. I do have a Patreon if you wish to support me that way, or a PayPal. You can support me that way. Please do. I mean, I kind of need it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the little alert bell so you can always know when I'm live streaming. Well, most of the time. And then, as I always like to leave it, don't let your passion center around your life.
Let your life center around your passions. And if you didn't understand all that lawyer speak, then you can you hit a little settings thing, and play this at half speed.
Y'all have a
wonderful
wonderful evening.